Hey guys, you have been told in your life that the basic unit of English writing is the sentence. And I'm here to tell you that it's not. It is the clause. Okay, you know how they say that all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares? It's kind of the same thing with clauses and sentences. A sentence is a clause, but a clause isn't necessarily a sentence. So you've probably been told in your life that a sentence is a complete thought, and that's just too confusing to do us any good. So what we're going to do is break down what a clause is inside of a sentence and say that a clause is a subject and a predicate, which a predicate contains a conjugated verb. So stick with me, we'll figure it all out. The more we focus on this, the more we're going to be able to eliminate lots of grammar problems in one swoop just by understanding this one principle. So that's why I'm recording this, and that's why this is important. What is a clause? A clause is a group of words. Forget that. Here are some clauses. Kiefer Sutherland tackled a Christmas tree.
That would explain everything.
Here's another one. The man has only 3 toes on his right foot. Those are 2 clauses, and I'm going to show you why. Subject in these 2 clauses is clear. Kiefer Sutherland and the man. That the subject in this sentence affects how you conjugate the verb. Now let me break that down for you. Conjugating a verb means you change it in order to fit the subject and the tense of what you're saying. Okay, this is easier to see in other languages, like in Spanish. You have I run, you run is yo corro, tú corres, usted corre, right? The endings are very different in Spanish. In English, they're a lot the same. I run, you run, we run. They don't change very much, but they're still being conjugated to match the subject. That verb in there, it can't just be any verb. It has to be conjugated to meet or match that subject. That's the important thing inside a clause. In our examples before, the conjugated verb is tackled. Kiefer Sutherland tackled the tree. You wouldn't say Kiefer Sutherland to tackle the tree or Kiefer Sutherland tackle the tree, because those are incorrect conjugations of the verb. So subject Kiefer Sutherland, predicate tackled the Christmas tree.
That would explain everything.
So the conjugated verb and everything after it, everything that involves that verb, is the predicate. So we've got a subject, which is the person or thing for whom the verb is conjugated, and then the predicate, which is the conjugated verb and everything else. Okay? Hope you're following along still. You're probably falling asleep. Boop, 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 boo. Now the subject is usually clear, but there's sometimes it's not. So check out this sentence. The girl who sometimes wears a scarf even though it's 90 degrees outside and everyone else is sweatier than warthogs in the Sahara Desert is weird. In this clause, the subject is the girl who sometimes wears a scarf even though it's 90 degrees outside and everyone else is sweatier than warthogs in the Sahara Desert. That whole thing is the subject of the sentence, because the conjugated verb is, she is weird, refers to her, that girl. This is tricky because that subject still contains conjugated verbs. We've got wears and is and is. All those are conjugated to meet her, but that whole phrase is the subject. So it's kind of confusing sometimes. You got to be careful. So let's recap. A clause has to have a subject and a predicate, which includes a conjugated verb in there. That's the main important thing that we have to learn. A sentence can be just one clause or many. Take this sentence for example. Yesterday, I woke up in my best friend's backyard and his mother found me and called the cops. We've got 3 clauses mashed together in the sentence. One, I woke up is your first subject and conjugated verb. His mother found is the second one, and his mother called. We don't say his mother twice in there, but it's implied. She's the subject of that second thing. We got 3 clauses mashed together, and they're all joined with the conjunction and. You remember conjunctions, don't you?
Function. I got and, but, and, or. They'll get you pretty far.
So really, clauses are the building blocks of English, not sentences, because there's little clauses inside sentences. Anytime in high school or middle school when your teacher said you had a comma splice or a run-on sentence or a sentence fragment, it means you were doing something wrong with the clauses and how you combined them together. That's really the most important thing here. There's a bunch of ways to combine clauses together. We're going to talk about 3 in just a second. This is really where the most fun comes in writing, is the things you do to combine the clauses together. Let's take 2 clauses. I wore my hat, Jessica ate a sandwich. They can each be a sentence by themselves. We could just put a period after them. Boop, boop. The period, or even an exclamation mark, give us the weakest connection between these 2 things. All we know is that they both happen. We don't know if the hat had anything to do with the sandwich or with Jessica or anything. We're not even sure if I was wearing my hat when Jessica ate the sandwich. There's nothing in the punctuation or in the way they're connected that combines them together in any way. They just both happened. One way to combine clauses together is through punctuation. So, for example, we could put a semicolon in between these, and that would give you some kind of a clue that there's a connection between these 2. So that would be, I wore my hat, Jessica ate a sandwich. So perhaps those 2 things are both activities we did at a fair or something like that. Okay, the next way we can combine those 2 clauses is with a comma and a coordinating conjunction.
Tying up words and phrases and clauses.
For and nor, but, or, yet, so. There we go. That's all 7 of them. You can change the entire story of what's going on using different coordinating conjunctions. For example, I wore my hat and Jessica ate a sandwich. But now, look what happens when we say, I wore my hat so Jessica ate a sandwich. Or with but. I wore my hat, but Jessica ate a sandwich.
Olha a terra, olha o céu e tudo me fala de ti. Do teu amor que perdi quando a minha alma se perdeu.
Another way of combining these clauses together is with a subordinating conjunction. So here's an example. I was wearing my hat because Jessica ate a sandwich. Because, then, is the subordinating conjunction. Now we've got these 2 clauses. I wore my hat, Jessica ate a sandwich. When we put in the word because, now I wore my hat because Jessica ate a sandwich, right? The only reason that I wore my hat is because Jessica ate a sandwich. If Jessica didn't eat the sandwich, then I wouldn't have worn my hat. This one is subordinate to this other one. That's where that comes from. So there's a couple other options we have with this. I wore my hat while Jessica ate a sandwich. I wore my hat before Jessica ate a sandwich. Now, see how the ways that we connect, we've got the same exact clauses, but the way we connect them together is completely changing the story. So that's really where the magic happens in writing, is the things you put in between these clauses to combine them together.
That would explain everything.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
I'm going to get you there.